Hi everyone, my name is Daryl. I'm an alcoholic. If everyone can please take their seats and get ready for John to speak. All right, at this time we have John T. from New York City also. Everybody please welcome John.
How you doing? My name is John Trokey. I'm an alcoholic. Pleasure to be here. I know you guys are here to see Mr. Marvelous, but I think he's the next speaker. And I'm here to speak about steps 10 and 11, right? So, let me just tell you a little bit about myself and, my experience and how did I learn how to do step 10, by the way. My experience was that step 10 was the experience that I got from doing steps 4 through 9 was going to set me up for step 10, which is on a regular basis, I'm going to live this way of life. You guys, Alcoholics Anonymous, you gave me a set of tools and a way to live my life and a way to take a look at myself and a way to clean up my past and clean up my present and make amends with people and keep things in good order and invite God into all this. Because by the way, my experience is just me trying to do this on my own and my own power is a huge disaster. I needed God's help all along, and so I want to tell. I like to talk about specific stories because for me that really is what connects me to these steps and what they look like in my life. And the first one I want to talk about is, I've been doing this for a while. This 10-step story was they had built a new little strip mall. I live in the Bronx, and they built this like little strip mall on Broadway, and parking is horrendous over there. But they have a PetSmart. Right, and I have a dog who I love. By the way, like the way I feel about my dog is like if it's like you or my dog, I'm sorry, you gotta go. You know what I mean? Like I'll definitely let you go. So that's how I feel about my dog. And so one day, I don't know, I have a day off, and I'm gonna go to PetSmart, right? The new PetSmart on Broadway. I'm like, this is exciting, right? And I get in my car and I get over there, and like I said, parking over there is horrendous. It's horrendous. They have this little tiny parking lot, and God is so good. I have like the parking God. You guys know about the parking God? And the parking God opens up a parking spot for me, and I'm like, this is perfect. And I pull right in, and I go into PetSmart, and I go and get, I get dog food and poop bags and cookies and all that stuff. And then I go up to pay for this, right? I know this story sounds like it's not going anywhere, right? But this is like the mundane aspect of life and how these principles fit into it is pretty remarkable. And so I go up to the counter, and I put my stuff on, and the guy that's behind the register, he strikes me a little bit like a dim bulb. You know what I mean? Like he's a little bit of a doo-doo. He's not all there. And he punches everything in, and then he puts it into a bag. And I noticed that the poop bags are sitting outside of the bag that he put everything else in. And I look at him, and I look at the bags, and I go, did you get that? And he looks at me, and he looks at the bags, and then he takes the bags and he puts it in the bag. And immediately in my head I go, he didn't get that. He didn't charge me for that. And I have this voice in my head. I don't know if you have a voice like this. I have a voice in my head that goes, all right, I just got over on $10 poop bags, right? It's just like so quick. It's like the speed of light. It happens like before I even know it happened. And I grab the bag, and I begin to walk out. And as I'm walking out, there's this other voice that has been installed by Alcoholics Anonymous that goes, you know you didn't pay for those bags. You know you didn't. And I go, shut up, you know, shut up. And I walk out. And they also, at this little strip mall, they have like a Chipotle, right? And I'm gonna go get me Chipotle too. You know what I mean? Like, this is like a big day. I'm excited. So I put the stuff in the car and I walk over to Chipotle and I get my lunch. And the whole time I'm online, I hear that little AA voice going, you know you didn't pay for those bags. You know you did not pay for those bags. And I'm like, you know what? How do I asked the guy like a good AA member, I asked him if he got the bags, and he took the bags and he put it in the bag and he gave it to me. And that's good enough, as far as I'm concerned. That's good. And I did my job. It's not my fault he's not all there. I get my lunch, I walk out, I go to my car, and that voice won't stop. The one that keeps telling me, you didn't pay for the bags. And I'm like, there's no way I could even ever know if I paid for the bags or not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how would I even know? I get in my car, and the voice is going, you know you're gonna have to come back here to make amends. You know, like, this is what AA has done to me. Like, I can't even have peace in getting a free $10 packet of poop bags for my dog. And the voice is going, you know you're going to have to come back here to make amends. Why are you leaving? And as I pull out and I start to go, all of a sudden, like a light bulb, it goes on over my head. It's a simple answer. All I have to do is look at the receipt. Now, I'm not that quick, you know what I mean? Like, it took me this long to come up with that answer. Look at the receipt. I go, oh, yeah. Look at the receipt. So I pull over. I stop the car, and I look in the bag, and I look at the receipt. No poop bags. I got my answer. I didn't pay for them. And I know what the right answer is. I have to go back inside and pay for these bags. See what AA just did for me? Do you see that? Do you see the magic right there? That happened. Here's the problem. I pulled out of my parking spot, and now I don't have a parking spot. Right? And now I'm going... I could be waiting like a while for somebody else to leave, right? And I got a lot of things to do. I have my Chipotle I want to go eat, you know what I mean? And I go, you know what? I'm going to pull right over here, and I'm going to run in, and I'm going to pay for these bags, and I'm going to be in and out. And I'm going to be like a good I am like a gold star AA member. I mean, this is like, real time, I'm seeing how I'm not an upright citizen, but now I'm going to do the right thing. So I pull over, I run inside, and you know, it's that guy behind the counter who's not the brightest, and I'm like, let's go. And finally I go up, I go, listen, I go, you didn't charge me for this, can I please pay for it? And there's like this little old lady on the line, and she goes, oh, you're such a good person, you know, like she heard me say it, and I go, you know, I'm like, I know, I'm kind of a good guy, you know, and I'm like, can I pay for this? And this guy's taking longer than, like, he still doesn't get it. I'm like, let me pay you, right? So I give him the money. This is the whole thing. I'm like, come on, let's go. I give him the money, and I walk out. I'm walking out, and it's like I'm like this feeling of exhilaration. I did the right thing in real time. And as I walk out the door. And I was in there for maybe like 3 minutes. As I walk out the door, there's the tow truck. Oh, there's the tow truck picking up my car. And at that point, I go, no. I go running out, and I'm trying to explain to this tow truck driver, you don't understand, I'm a good person, I'm doing the right thing, blah, blah, blah. And he's just, there's two guys. There's one guy that's writing on a clipboard, and there's one guy who's, you know, putting it on the tow truck. And and I'm trying to explain to him, like I just explained to you, but like, and fast forward, like what just happened. And you got to cut me a break. And the guy looks at me and he goes, listen, you knew that you couldn't park here. He goes, I saw you look at the sign, which I did, but I figured I'd be in and out. Like, I figured, how can a tow truck get there that fast? You know what I mean? And besides, like, God's supposed to be looking out for me because I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Have you ever been doing the right thing and you said, God's going to look out for me because I'm doing the right thing? And well, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, right? So I say to the tow truck driver, I go, come on, man, cut me a break. And he goes, I'll tell you what, I can do a drop tow right now for $125. I go, are you kidding me? He goes, if I take it across the street to the pound, it's going to be twice that much. And I'm like seething. I can't believe this is happening to a good person like me. You know what I mean? This is like so unbelievably bad. This is not how a 10-step story is supposed to go. You know what I mean? Like, this was supposed to be triumphant for me. And I'm like, I can't believe this. And I give him my credit card and I'm stewing. And the guy who has the clipboard, who's writing stuff, he looks at me and he goes, you should have took those poop bags. And I'm like, I want to start yelling at this guy, like, you're the kind of person, and you fucking, and instead of doing that, I say, I'm trying not to live that way today. And I pay for this stupid thing. And I get in my car with my Chipotle and my dog food, my poop bags. I'm like seething. I cannot believe this just happened to me. And I drive home and I'm like, I start the 10th step. I have this, at this point in my life, I use this app because I like to email it to people because, you know, I'm really trying to be like AA cadet. And so I 10-step it and I send it and I call my sponsor and I just cannot believe this just happened to me. I can't believe it. And I remember, like, right after that happened, I was over in Astoria. And I remember telling Joe that story, Joe C. And he's not a very sympathetic person. By the way, if you ever have a problem like that, don't tell Joe because he's not gonna pat you on the back. He laughs and he goes, you know what, John? What happened is you did the right thing, but you did it the wrong way. And I go, great. Yep, I did the right thing. I did it the wrong way, Joe. Great. Thanks, Joe. You're real help, motherfucker. Right, so here's the deal. You guys gave me this thing. You instilled something in me, right? At going through these steps, coming to these meetings, having an experience with my sponsor, having a spiritual life, having a prayer life, having a meditation. Something happened inside of me. Now that voice that was there probably before I ever picked up a drink, the one that's still there, it's there, right? The voice of the illness, the one that wants to cut corners, the one that thinks that there's a better way, that there's a way to get over. That voice will periodically he'll give me his input, and what AA has helped me to do is to recognize that voice in real time, usually, and not listen to it. And that's what step 10 has become for me. And so that was an example for me of like, I knew when he put that item in my bag, I knew right then that I hadn't paid for it. I knew it. And I heard the voice of AA, the one that said you didn't do the right thing. I heard it, but I couldn't listen to it. 10th step for me has been this process of trusting that voice, trusting the one that tells me to do the right thing. So the other story, which is like, this is real recent, this is like just happened, which is very much a 10th step story for me, is at the end of last year, I go to see my doctor, and I'm doing my yearly physical. And as it turns out, I have high cholesterol. And my doctor tells me, this is what you're going to have to do, and this is why you got to do it. And that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, he tells me what I need to do, and he explains to me why I need to do it, and I can get down with that. Okay. And immediately when I left there, this is like December, I rejoined my old gym, and I get all the things that I need to start my new lifestyle. And I started. And then right after the new year, at my job, all of my coworkers, they go, hey, we have a great idea. Let's do Biggest Loser. Do you guys know Biggest Loser? Right? Biggest Loser, like person who loses the most, they win. Right? We'll do Biggest Loser. And I go, yeah, we will. and I'm gonna kill all of you in Biggest Loser because I now have the motivation and the fuel to really do this. Like, not like these weak-willed suckers, you know what I mean? Like, they're losers. I'm gonna win, right? Day 2 of Biggest Loser, one girl is eating Doritos for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you don't stand a chance, you should just stop right now. Another girl is eating brownies secretly. I'm like, come on. You guys, you don't stand a chance. And I'm doing like spiritual warfare, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing my thing. And I'm very like, I have high willpower when it comes to certain things in my life. There's certain things where I can really sink my teeth into it and do it. And this is one of them. And I'm diligent. And my diet is 100% great. My exercise routine is amazing. I mean, I'm amazing, you know, amazing. Right? So, and everybody knows it. And that's part of the whole deal here, is that I want them to know that I'm up here and they're down there. You know what I mean? That's the message I want. And I want to win. I want to win. And it's pretty clear that I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And then what happens is, as we're going forward, it's pretty clear there's no competition. I'm killing them, right? But what I didn't know is one of the guys, he was very unassuming. He doesn't talk, doesn't say anything. And he's one of those guys, he kind of looks like a skinny guy, so he doesn't look like he has a lot to lose, but he's actually losing a lot. And he wears like baggy clothes, so you'd never know it. One day, you know, so I'm kind of, you know, I'm not going pedal to the metal. One day, I catch him on the scale, and I find out how much he's lost so far. And I go, holy crap, I might not win this thing. I gotta put it into overdrive. We're getting to the end, okay? Now here's the deal. We're getting to the end, and me and him are like neck and neck. And at the last weekend, right before we're gonna do the final weigh-in, I'm going away to a retreat in Tennessee. Not lucky for me. And this guy, he's a cyclist, and he's gonna be cycling all weekend. I'm not happy about it. And one of my coworkers, a guy who couldn't be there that day for the weigh-in, asked this question in an email. He goes, is it possible, will you guys be okay if I do the weigh-in from home? Because I can't make it. Now, I'm coming back from Tennessee on a Monday, and I was going to go to work just for the weigh-in. And I type, well, the only way I'm okay with that is if I can do it from home too. And here's the thing that nobody knows. My scale at home, I've consistently been lighter on my scale at home, which has been frustrating because the scale that we use at work is like I'm always, you know, heavier. And I go, yeah, only if I can do it too. And they go, yeah, okay, sure. You guys can do it from home. And I go, yes, I got this. I got it. Come home, get on the scale. I do my video of it. And it turns out, it's unbelievable. I can't believe this happened. It turns out that the guy who was neck and neck with me, if I would have weighed myself at the scale at work, he would have won. But it was so close that using my scale at home gave me the win. Now nobody knows this, just me. I'm the only one that knows this. And I go, damn, what do I do? What do I do? I mean, there's cash money involved, guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's cash. And, you know, I want to be the winner a lot. It's really important to me. And there I am at home, and I see the results, and then the guy who organized it sends out an email to everybody congratulating me as the winner. And I go, holy, like, are you really gonna do this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, my heart is sinking as I'm thinking about, I'm gonna have to perpetrate this lie that I won and I didn't really win. And then I start thinking about, and you know, like, then you're gonna have to make amends for this later. That same voice comes back. That same frickin' voice comes back and says that same thing to me. And I'm at home, and this is the deal. I don't have the power to do the right thing on my own. I really don't. Like the guy that I am, I was brought up to win at all costs. You know, like, it's like sweep the leg, you know what I mean? Like Cobra Kai, like I want to win. I don't care. Like that's a minor detail that my scale, listen, they're the ones that let me do it from home. You know what I mean? It's kind of their fault. That's what the voice tells me. I'm going through the whole thing. And then I start to pray. And I say, God, please help me to do the right thing. God, please help me to do the right thing. God, please help me to do the right thing. And the next day I go into work, and we have our morning meeting, and we're all in the conference room, and they go to give me the congratulations for winning this contest. And I have to stop them. And I can't believe that I'm doing it, you know? I can't believe this is like 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And I can't believe this is happening, and I go, I have to tell you that I have to concede this win to Jim. And everybody's really confused. This is kind of horrific. Everybody's confused, and one person goes, "Did you cheat?" I'm like, no, I didn't cheat. And then I had to explain to them what happened, you know. And I think about, like, this is what you guys have done to me. You guys gave me a conscience. AA gave me a conscience, right? It was like that still small voice, like they would talk about the still small voice. The still small voice that I would always, you know, put a pillow over its mouth. You know, that little voice is the one that I need to listen to. Now here's the thing, like, it's not always the easiest thing to do the right thing, especially for a guy like me. That's my experience. But what I found is that when I listen to that voice and I attempt to do the right thing, I get to have a clearer conscience. And that's pretty cool. And that has been basically my ethic for step 10. There's a word that they use in the step, and they use it in the big book, and the word is continue. Continue to live this way of life. Continue to do this. Continue to look out for selfishness, self-centeredness, inconsideration, fear, dishonesty. Take a look at that in real time as you're living your life. Now, I could never look out for any of that stuff unless I actually went through those first 9 steps. Because step 4 is where I learned how to spot this stuff. Right? I didn't know that how pervasive my selfishness and self-centeredness was. I didn't realize how inconsiderate I was. I had no idea, but I found that out in steps 4 and 5. Step 10 allows me to continue this. Now, if I harm somebody along the way, I learned how to make amends in steps 8 and 9. The character defects that I found out about in 4 and 5, I learned that there's this thing called practicing these principles in all my affairs. So I can't remove my defect, right? I can't remove the selfishness, but what I can do is I can be mindful of when it comes up, and when it does come up, my go-to is go to prayer, ask for help, go to God. That's what I try to do. And for me, that's what step 10 has been like for me in my life. Now, they give like these promises in the 10th step in the big book that are really pretty phenomenal. And they talk about being placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected, right? If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. The problem has been removed. That's been my experience in AA. I remember when I first came back to AA, and the mental obsession was on me. I could not shake the insane idea. Every day was a battle. Every day I would wake up and I'd go, it's going to happen today. It's going to happen today. I mean, I literally was shook. I knew that there was no way I was going to make it through this life without relapsing. I knew it. And I was just holding on to dear life. Now, there was a point when I was there where I said to myself, is this what sobriety is going to be like for the rest of my life? See, I had been sober in the past, and I knew what it was like to be clean and sober and be happy about it. I knew what it was like to be comfortable in my own skin, and I had that experience. But my mind said to me, but maybe you've damaged yourself so much, you'll never get that back. Maybe there's no returning to that. Maybe this is as good as it's going to get for you. And when I considered that thought, I thought, geez, if that's the truth, please give me a bullet. Take me out. Because if sobriety was going to be fighting this for the rest of my life, I'd rather be dead. I don't have the strength. I was just exhausted. I was drained by that constant, rumination, the thoughts that just wouldn't stop. The dog, it was like the dog with the bone. And that's how I felt. If you would have told me at that point in my sobriety, if you would have just given me the 10-step promises and said, this is what you'll get, I would have signed up just for that. Now, if that was the only thing I signed up for, I would have sold myself short. But at that point, if I could just have that, I'd take it. Because I just could not shake that obsession. You know, what happened to me, I love when you talked about, it seems like we do these steps and we take these actions, and while we're doing that, it's like this sleight of hand magic trick that God just kind of takes stuff out while we're busy doing this other stuff. Because it seemed that way to me. And I remember the first time when I fully noticed that the obsession had been removed. I was sitting at a meeting one day, and some guy's up at the podium, and he's talking, he's doing his spiel, and he was just so honest about the way he said it, and he goes, sometimes I'm just happy for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, he goes, I don't even have a right to be happy, really. Like, I don't have anything special going on in my life. Like, I'm not lighting it up or anything, but like, I'm happy. And I remember thinking, like, yeah, me too. I don't have any right to be happy. I don't have any special thing going on in my life. At that point, I don't have anything special going on in my life, and I'm happy. Wow. I recognized it when he said that. And then he said, and the other thing is, I can't remember the last time I thought about a drink. And I went, oh my God, me too. I don't remember the last time I thought about a drink. And now I'm sitting there and I'm going, when was it? And I'm trying to figure out when was the last time, because I literally every day I would think about picking up. It was just like this insanity in my head. And now all of a sudden it was gone, and I couldn't tell you when it had happened. But along the way, as I was doing this stuff, it seemed as though I was busy doing this other stuff, and God just came along and just kind of plucked some of these things out of me. And that's been my experience with Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't feel like like me doing the work does it. I really believe that God has everything to do with what's going on in my life. I have to be willing to do the work and take the actions for sure. But the faith that I have in a power greater than myself has helped me tremendously. Which brings me to step 11, this idea of I want to improve my conscious contact with this power. Now, like I said, every single day in the beginning, I was like, the obsession was on me. I was like I was a maniac in sobriety. And fast forward a little bit, a few months into sobriety, I was lucky enough to still have a job, but I was horrible at my job. I was just the worst. I was such a bad employee. And it was getting to be embarrassing because, the trouble that I got into at work when I was drinking and using, it was understandable because I was a drunken mess. But now I'm supposedly clean and sober in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I still get in trouble all the time for doing stupid stuff at work. I'm the guy, I always want to cut corners. I always think that there's an easier way to do this. I will work double time to make it look like I'm working, but actually not work. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy the way I do things. I'm just shady, and I'm seeing it, and it's embarrassing to me. It's really embarrassing that this is how I live my life, and I'm supposedly sober. One day I had a conversation with my sponsor, and I'm telling him about the difficulties I'm having at work. And he says to me, he goes, well, what do you do with on awakening? I go, what do you mean? He goes, morning meditation. Like, what do you do? I don't do anything with it. And he goes, all right, well, why don't we try this? And he took me to the directions of the big book where it talks about on awakening, right? And he said, why don't you just, listen, start small. Why don't you just use this as it pertains to work? Take 5 minutes in the morning. Right? 5 extra minutes in the morning to take a look at your day and what's coming. And okay, I'm not thrilled about it because the way that I live my life is like I sleep to like the last nanosecond. You know what I mean? Like I hit snooze 30,000 times in the morning, and then finally when I wake up, I'm like running around my apartment like my hair's on fire. back when I had hair, and I'm jumping around, and then I jump into my car and I speed off into the world and I cut you off and I give you the finger because that's your fault, and that's how I start my day. And I wonder why the rest of my day is like so chaotic. That's my life. It's a lot of chaos without a drink or a drug, right? I don't need alcohol to see the chaos in my life, right? Because alcohol is not my problem, it's the solution to my problem. You remove the problem, you remove alcohol from the equation, I'm left with the problem. So I have to find out what's the problem, right? And as it turns out, it's between my left ear and my right ear, you know? It's there with me all the time. It's that voice that I was telling you about. It's a voice, by the way, that talks to me in my own voice, which is interesting. Because if you're anything like me, I mean, there's no one in the world I agree with more than myself. I'm almost at 100% in agreement with myself. You know what I mean? So if I hear me telling me something, I go, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, you should tell them to screw off. Yeah, they're taking advantage of you. You gotta do what you have to do. Yeah, I listen to that and I take actions based on what's going on inside my head, and I wonder why my life keeps blowing up. So he's telling me, take these directions. When you wake up, take 5 minutes and consider your plans for the day. All right. So I start doing this just for work. It's just as it pertains to work, and that's how I start. And some time goes by. And I start noticing that, like, my days are going smoother, you know, when I do this. Like, I see it. My days are going smoother. And then, like, some time passes, and one day I'm at work, and there's something happened. And the higher-ups come to me, and they go, listen, this just happened. It's a big problem. We need you to go fix it. And it was like one of those moments where, like, the dog hears the high-pitched noise. I'm like, you need to fix it? See, like, I was always the guy that, like, I was the cause of the problems, you know what I mean? That's usually what I was. And now all of a sudden, I've been somewhat transformed from the guy who creates the problems to they see in me that I am the guy that can go fix the problem. And I go, whoa, something's working. Something's different, right? And that was like the beginning of noticing that there was real power in these, like, practical solutions. I feel like Alcoholics Anonymous and 12 Steps, there's a part of it that's totally mystical. I mean, really, like, the spirituality of AA is like, we're in the mystery, and it's amazing. And then there's also this other aspect of it that it's immensely practical. And it's the marriage of spirituality and practicality. And how can they go together to improve your life? And I started to see that at that point. Later on, as I became more and more Mr. AA, and I realized that, like, I want to be able to really tap into something, I really started taking the directions in the big book seriously. About step 11, they talk about 3 things. They talk about nightly review, on awakening, and then they talk about as you go through the day, which pretty much covers, like, everything, by the way. So nightly review, why would I do that? I mean, what? Like, you know how I go to bed is like I watch TV until, you know, I'm up way too late, and then I just pass out. I don't want to sit and think about my day, where it was like selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, frightened, who did I hurt? Do I owe an amends? I don't want to think about any of that stuff. Well, when I started to take those directions seriously, and I would really look at my day and go through each point and answer it, and then listen, this is just my experience. Then I would email it to my sponsor, sometimes to other guys too, but mostly to my sponsor, just so that I could have that accountability. I started doing that, and then I really took meditation seriously, which was, for me, and I'm not saying that I do this all the time, but there was a period in my life where I did do it every single day. And what happened was I would wake up in the morning, and I started out with 10 minutes of meditation. It eventually got to about 40 minutes of meditation, and I would do 40 minutes in the morning, and when I'd come home from work, I would do 40 minutes like in the afternoon. And it was like amazing what began to happen in my life. There are certain areas in the steps, for me at least, and with guys that I work with as well, where for me, where I just notice, like, it's like your recovery gets hypercharged. right? 4 and 5, big. 8 and 9, big. 10 and 11, big. 12, big. Right? And I started to see the quality of my recovery began to change. You know what I mean? Like I started to feel like this stillness developing inside of me. Weird, because I'm not inherently still. You know, like I'm not quiet. I'm a loudmouth. I like action. I'm the guy that on TV, radio, internet, everything's on. You know, I like all that. And now I'm doing like meditation on a regular basis. And then I started to see the thing about the meditation was it's not even about the meditation per se, but it's about the state of mind that is developed by the meditation. It's about the state, the mental state. And I started to see like if I could tap into that state in different ways, that's what I want to do. And I started to see that the meditative state you could get that in going on a hike. You can get it from listening to music. You can get it from working out, right? There are all these different ways that you could tap into that state, and that was big. The next thing this is when I really started to see also, when I was talking about the two voices, where I really started to see that there is a voice in my head that just says nonsense. It's like this narrator. And it's almost like CNN News or any cable news channel. But the whole broadcast is about me all the time. All me all the time. And it's constantly, this just in. They're lining up against you. You're in big trouble. Right? You're at the beginning of another lifelong depression. Here it comes. She's going to leave. You're going to lose the job. You know, it's constant like bump, news alert, you know? And I started realizing like that thing right there is not my friend. You know, that thing that talks to me in my voice that says that crazy stuff to me, that is not my friend. And engaging in that and like letting that ruminate inside my head is not the way to go. And so I feel like step 11 was almost like growing a volume button, like for my head, you know, where I'm able to turn it down. I never realized before how loud it was inside here, you know? Like it's like the fish in the ocean and he says, hey, let's find this thing called water. I hear about it. Let's see if we can find it. Like he's in it. You know, I can't hear it because I'm constantly immersed in that loud, you know, chaos, you know, the chatter of 1,000 monkeys. And so the meditation gave me this ability to lower it. And so now I can hear it and I don't have to listen to it. Right? I can hear that stuff's still good. The mind is going to do what the mind does, by the way. That's my experience. The mind will do what the mind does. That's what the mind does. It's just, hey, look at that thing over there. Hey, I'm hungry. Hey, let's go get some food. Hey, do you remember like in second grade when Miss McGillicuddy embarrassed you in front of the class? What a bitch. You know, what it's going to be like when you're 73. Are you going to still be alive? Will you still be in New York, or do you think maybe you'll move somewhere? I mean, it's just on and on. It's just going on and on and on and on and on. And you listen to that for long enough, it will drive you crazy. It drove me crazy, right? And so it was just like in the other steps, I had to recognize that it was happening, that it was there. And I heard, then like along the way, like I just finding different spiritual teachers, you know, people that were able to touch me in a way, you know. And at one point I hear somebody say, he goes, I am not my thinking mind, and I am not my body. And I go, what the hell does that mean? I'm not my thinking mind, not my body. What the hell? What the hell does he mean by that? And it wouldn't get, like I couldn't get that out of my head. Like this guy said this thing. I don't even know what that means. And then I started realizing like that's the whole heist. That's the heist of alcoholism. Is I have an illness, right, that speaks to me in my own voice. It's convinced me that it's me, and I listen to it. And I listen to that thing over and over and over again, and just look at the results in my life, right? All deeds are born in thought. I've confused myself with my illness. By the way, how can you get free of your illness if you are the illness? You can't. A car can't get out of a car, can it? Only a passenger can. And when I started to realize like the truth, the wisdom of this idea of like, I'm not my mind. it opened up this possibility of, if I'm not it, then I can get free of it. And if I'm not it, by the way, if I'm not my mind and I'm not my body, which is probably pretty close to the truth, because once I die, those things will be dead. And what am I really? What are we? What are we? And I like in the book where it talks about deep down inside, right? There's the fundamental idea of God. It may have been obscured by calamity, by pomp, by worship of other things. He says the great reality is deep down within us, within every man, woman, and child. And God, like, that is so beautiful. You know, like, deep down within us, deep down within me, is what I really am, which is not the mind and not the body. And then came this idea of, well, if that is true for me, and it's true for you, then maybe you and I are connected in a way that's truly profound that I'll never comprehend, that none of us will. That maybe we are, like they say in the book, the children of a living creator. Wow, oh my God. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that blows my mind. Can you believe an idiot like me would like come to those kinds of conclusions for myself? At the end of the day, by the way, it's the idea that's important, right? What ideas do you buy into? Right? Perception becomes reality. I used to see the world as everything is a problem. I used to see the world as this is a disgusting cesspool. I wanted everybody dead. And look at the results of thinking that way. Well, if the thoughts I entertain can make my life horrible, is it possible I can entertain new thoughts that will make my life beautiful? Well, I've come to find out yes, because I've experienced it. Right? I've gotten to experience what it's like when you entertain new thoughts. Right? When you start to realize, or when I started to realize, that I'm not my mind. That what I am, the real me, right? The true essence of whatever I am, that's the thing that's eternal. That's the thing that's of God. And St. Francis has this, they attribute this saying to St. Francis. He says, what you're looking for, you're looking with. I like that, right? So this higher power that I've been seeking a deeper relationship with is closer to me than my next breath. Always there, always present, never off, always on. It only seems as if he's gone. It only seems as if I've been separated from him. It only seems as if I can't, access it. And so I guess, coming to the end of this, I'm looking at this idea of we live in a world of seemingly, right? In the beginning of the book, at the very front, they say, we are men and women who've recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. And it's seemingly because if it was actually hopeless, no one would ever recover. And as it turns out, we live in a world of seemingly. Many things seem to be a certain way. Doesn't mean it's actually that way. We live in a world of illusion. Many things seem to be real, but they are not real. Right? Entertaining these ideas, for me, began to change the game. I started to see less problems in my life. I started to see more solutions. I started to see less separation between you and me, and I started to see more connection. I started to see alcoholism as about isolation. It does not want us connected. Right? My illness, that voice, the one that talks to me, does not want me connected with you. It wants me isolated because that's where it does its best work. When I connect with you and I tell you the crazy stuff that's going on inside my head, and you say, well, maybe you might want to look at it differently. That opens up a new possibility. When I'm with myself and I hear that voice, the one that I think is me, saying that crazy stuff, I'm right. I'm right. You guys, I'm right? I'm right. And I'm in trouble. When I'm right, I'm in trouble. So this aspect of this program, I love, the spirituality of it. Steps 3, 7, and 11, those three together are like immense, right? This idea of, in the first step, I come to see my powerlessness. I come to see that no matter what, I can't do this on my own. I need help. If lack of power is my dilemma, my solution must include power. And the book says, well, where and how are we to find this power? Well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. It's the power that solves the problem. My problem all along has been lack of access. The power was always there. I just didn't know how to access it. AA gave me a way to access power in my life. And you want to see power in your life? Try it. See what happens. See how your mind will lack the ability to trip you up on a regular basis. It will try. It will continue to try. But see, once you get access to power, what that does. And then the most beautiful thing is I do not live a life where I wake up every morning and go, today's another day, or have to figure out how not to drink. That's not part of my program. That thing has been removed. I've been in long-term recovery. I have not had the thought or the wish or the desire to escape through a chemical. And that's unbelievable. That is really unbelievable. If you would have told me that in those early days when I told you I couldn't shake the obsession, I don't know if I'd believe you. But that's been my truth. As long as I continue to follow a few simple rules, right? I try to continue to be disciplined in my spirituality, and I continue to stay connected to you, I'll be all right. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, John. Thanks again. One more quick one. Thank you. Let's take a break, and Rick's going to try and hammer out step 12. It's an important one. Okay, let's take Mr. Marvelous.